they don't have offers, I just submit the offer and put the commission I want to get paid.
If I come back to you and say I'm not paying you, I was talking to a lender and they copied the lender on the offer.
Okay.
And the sellers replied, "We're good with all the terms except the commission." So then what do you do?
No, there's a risk. Everything there's a risk.
Yeah.
Your buyer's already squeezed.
Correct.
And has barely any money left to even make a down payment.
Correct.
And then you tell them that they have to pay you
Correct.
as well.
What
But
incentive,
again-
what
yeah.
incentive are you giving everyone to come? It's your money too. I mean, it's not.
No, that's because you're a greedy seller then. Sorry.
What do you mean?
You're like, oh, it's my money. I don't have to. No, because at the end of the day, it's the buyer that's paying, that's bringing the money. See, some sellers, they do get greedy. Maybe like you. When you sell, you're going to be a bad person. You're going to like, oh, the house $400,000. I want it all. Okay?
Yeah.
No,
I want $399.
Every penny.
You're paying what it's worth.
I got a prediction. Once technology gets more advanced, maybe you have the robot scans your eyes to go in the house, it might become more automatically and easier. So the buyer agent might be exiting out little by little. That's why I think it's going to be little boutiques are going to survive. The agent that's really, really knowledgeable, because he's going to be always around, because you're always going to need some person. But there's going to be half of the industry might disappear in 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised.
Redfin tried that. It didn't work.
Yeah, but that was a different era. That was you still, Frank, that you're more old school. Your kids are not you. They're not you.
Oh, I know.
They know to use Instagram, but you can't even put
Yeah,
a
but
post.
if someone
Sorry.
sells to
Your
get.
kid knows to use technology.
Yeah, but
1000%.
that's the same thing. But
Imagine
someone
your
still,
kids
needs to
in
get
10
in,
years.
someone still needs to get in the car, drive over there, open the door.
If there's if the robot could open the door, or there's like you scan your eyes, you get your identity and everything. If they find a way and they approve it, because these Zillow, the Redfin, the big companies are gonna have lobbyists. The lobbyists are gonna go to the whatever
but then
governor and buy the politicians and change the law.
Yeah, then you could just not have.
So then you don't need an agent.
If they change it.
Unless the seller does not agree to
Yeah.
that kind of access.
Yeah, but
but
at
then-
one point it's all like you get
No,
used
it's
to
all.
it.
But once they have the majority. But the point right now, the only thing that's saving you is a realtor needs to show the house.
For now.
Okay, what are they going? They're not
I'm
writing.
just saying.
They're
What
not
about,
writing. They're not
what
writing.
about Zillow integrates
They're-
ChatGPT?
They're not writing.
So-
They're not writing an essay.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Frank. You think real estate is important. It's important, but you think you're too.
I'm not saying me. I'm saying
I'm
there's
just
a
saying
lot.
you think
I'm saying there's other industries that it's way.
It's
more
important, but you think it's like
Okay.
we're way too important.
Look at-
we're
okay.
not that.
Okay, look at
I don't know.
look at loan.
All right, guys, welcome to episode 33 of the XR podcast. Today we're talking about being in the eye of the storm, the NAR settlement. It's been about a month now, about 30 days,
Fun.
give or take. Yes, we all got a lot of things to say about how it's been.
Yep.
Brittany's here, Frank, Greg, myself, Carlos, our wonderful cameraman's here as well. And I want to start by saying nothing's changed.
Well, why don't you
Well,
guys
here.
Wait.
a lot more paperwork.
Why don't you go over
A
what
lot
the
more
changes?
paperwork.
Just
Wait,
for a
we
few.
did like 5 podcasts talking about these changes.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of money.
Yes.
Yes. And nothing has changed.
I mean, a lot more paperwork.
My feelings have changed.
My feeling, yes.
My feelings definitely have changed.
Do you want to talk about what the changes are? So just in case people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so now, effective August 17th, we now need our buyers to sign a buyer agreement. You guys have to sign a buyer agreement before we go out.
And this buyer agreement's a contract.
Yes, the buyer agreement is a contract. We cannot
Show your home.
move
without-
forward. We cannot
without
show
some
you
kind of-
without having this agreement signed.
Yeah.
So I like to present it as kind of a new disclosure
Yeah.
that you have to sign. And then
I agree.
people, my clients seem a little more comfortable knowing, because we do need it signed.
And then the second change
in the MLS, our compensation is not being shown anymore.
doesn't show anymore.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We could show a home. You could have the buyer agreement signed, but if you don't, you could show a home and maybe not get paid.
Well,
Right?
the buyer agreement's saying that the buyer's going to has to pay if the seller's.
Yeah.
Wait,
in the event the seller
Wait.
does not agree to pay.
Wait, depend how you fill out the buyer agreement. There's no
Right.
rule that they have to pay you. You could put on the buyer agreement, my buyer's agreements. I told them I'm trying to get it from the seller. There's no rule. They don't have to pay.
You have to put an amount on there.
Yeah, you put an amount, but I'm trying to still get it from
Oh
the
yeah,
seller.
yeah, but you have to get. I'm saying, as it says in black and white, like if you put 2.5%, then if the seller says I'm not paying you, technically you could enforce it if you wanted to.
I know, but if on the form I put, because my forms are cancel anytime.
Yeah.
So my buyers could walk away and don't pay me nothing. So
If
the
they,
seller,
if they, I mean, if
Whatever.
you decide not to pursue it, yeah.
Yeah.
If you decide not to pursue
So I'm
it.
just saying
I'm just saying maybe everyone doesn't do that. Maybe
you could risk to show. No, that's me, my
Yeah,
practice.
yeah.
Everybody at XR,
I'm just-
we're all free to do little different things.
Yeah, I do cancel anytime too. I'm just saying.
I do too.
I'm just saying let's see. Okay, they're going to pay 1%, and you put 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Cancel anytime, but you did the offer, they accepted it, and then the seller side says, hey, we're going to pay you 1. You have the thing that says 2.5.
No, I get it. That's why you got.
You could decide to say, hey, I'm just going to take the 1, or you could say like
you got to
no,
negotiate.
I'm at
I
2.5.
think it's up to the agent's discretion if they want to enforce the full commission to be paid to them.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the changes. Adam, you say nothing's changed so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't had I haven't had a buyer pay me. Have you had a buyer pay you guys?
No.
No, not yet.
No.
Right. So that's right. He's going back to what he said.
Yeah.
Technically, it's kind of like it didn't change
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. So for me, same
More
thing.
paperwork.
Sometimes I did have people say, "Oh, we're not going to say what we're offering. We're not doing this," but then they were still paying they were still paying like
Yeah.
a typical amount. They weren't paying like 0 or 1%.
My opinion, I feel like, the whole thing that came up with the settlement and everything is to make sure that everybody negotiates every deal. All the realtors negotiate their fee, right? But I feel like at the end of the day, there's always and they don't want, we say that, but there's always a standard. Like, the lawyers were fighting with other people, on TV that they're paying for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, the standard,
Everybody's talking with their
it's-
client. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
they're talking with
the
the client.
standard is 2 to 3%. I could say that too. Like for across the board. Like and before the settlement, post settlement, pre settlement, standards I see is 2 or 3%.
Yeah. So
For one side.
that's good. That's good that you brought that up.
For one
'cause
side.
Step 2 is once we get the buyer to sign the contract, we do tell them that we're going to have the seller pay us. We have to give a form to the seller, right, asking for
Yep.
that money.
And
Now,
it's pretty much an addendum.
I want to go back and say
right?
I shouldn't say the word standard. I should say the word
Yeah.
the what I'm seeing.
Yes.
Listen, I know everything's
There's no
negotiable.
standard,
No. Everything's negotiable, but I don't want to go around the words because everybody goes around the words. But technically, the truth, there is a standard. It's like the gas, when you go buy gas.
Yeah.
Okay, $5.99 there. Maybe it's $5.89 on one side. I'm just saying.
Well,
I know we can't say.
Well, we could go to our industry, right? You
Yeah.
have a home inspector. Let's call it is $350 on the cheap, $550 on the more expensive. If you're just doing a home inspection,
Yeah.
I mean, depending on
the property.
depending on if it's like a 1,500 square foot house, right?
Yeah.
I don't see a $1,500 inspection. I don't see a $100 inspection.
No.
I don't see a $1,000 inspection.
Correct.
So is that price? You know what I mean? You could take every
I know.
industry. and
There's a
do the
lot
same
of stuff.
Yeah.
And lawyer fees. And
Lawyer fees too. It's like
appraisal.
okay, 500 on the cheap,
lender fees.
maybe 800 on the most expensive for a standard close.
So you're saying that the actual commission that we're getting paid hasn't changed.
So far, I mean, it's only been 30 days, but we're in a market, in the fall market, where sellers are more negotiable.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be, we'll see. I mean, I did do multiple offers. They had a ton of offers.
Okay.
And actually, the selling side set a low commission, a low, like basically not within their range, but people still put their commission in. So I think, and
Did you win it?
I won it.
Okay.
My client canceled, but I won it.
Same thing happened to me.
Did they pay you?
He canceled the.
No, but was the seller going to pay you?
Yeah, I got this. I actually got the signed form before I got the contract. He didn't even tell me I won. I already got the thing signed.
Okay.
And I mean, again, and my theory was, well, probably everyone was putting in roughly the same thing. Like even
Correct.
though they say, well, we're only paying this, when I got the buyer agreement signed. Hey, let's just put in there with our offer and see what they say. And they it was highest and best. So they
So
went for it.
we get that form signed by the sellers saying that they will pay us, right?
Well, it goes in with the offer. It's like an addendum.
Right.
So it's like,
So
hey,
how's everybody? Let's recap. Let's go back because this might be confusing for people.
Yeah, we're
Like,
going all over the
forms, left, right, buyer, seller. Like,
Yeah.
Okay,
All
you go see a house. Let's go talk about basics. We
Yep.
gotta talk basics.
Okay.
People are not in the real estate business.
Okay,
Most
so-
of the people
so basics-
don't understand what we're doing.
basics. Okay, so I'll go
Basic.
for my,
You go see a house. What do you? Are you just showing it? Do you know if you're gonna get paid or not?
I asked the listing agent, "Are you paying buyer's agent commission?" And
Okay.
And whatever they tell me, some people say yes,
Okay.
2.5, done.
Okay.
I know what we're working with. My client has nothing to worry about.
Okay.
And I had cases where the listing agent says, submit it with your offer.
Submit it with
We'll
your
see. We'll see what
Okay.
happens. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I'm not gonna worry my client yet. So we'll go see the place. They
good.
might like it. They may not, and avoid a very uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I
mean,
navigate it.
you're a good realtor. You still show the place.
We're
You're
supposed
not,
to.
You're not look. I mean, at the end of the day, it's morals, right? What we're supposed to is common sense, but a lot of people don't know it's common sense.
Yeah.
You should show it to them either way, and then figure out later.
A lot of it, once you get to know your client too, you kind of know like
Yeah.
you're not gonna like this place.
Yeah.
But you still gotta show it.
Or maybe
Yeah,
you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
We never ever know.
We never know.
So then you submit it, and then if your offer gets accepted, either they
What do you do, Frank?
similar. I
Same
ask.
approach?
I ask.
Okay.
Sometimes they tell me, sometimes they don't. And if they tell me, then I kind of know. Like I said, I had that one. They told me a number that was like pretty basically next to nothing, but
Okay.
I just submitted it with my offer, and it's still
Okay.
they still took it. So we
Yeah.
could probably.
Because you probably your offer was good.
I mean,
and you're
again,
like,
you got to think if they
Correct.
get an offer and they have nothing else. Let's call the house 350. If they're gonna get, or if they're gonna give you 1% or 1.5, and you want 2.5, it's like 3,000. So it's not like.
it comes down
Yeah,
with.
I said three. If it's like a $400,000 offer is 397. If
I
my
think
next
what it-
offer is 370.
I think what it comes down is their net and their motivation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much it.
Exactly.
It's a number game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's still kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But that's what you do.
that's right.
What about you, Adam?
Nothing's changed.
Nothing changed? You just submit the offer?
I just show the property.
Okay, you show the
Nice.
property?
Yep, my clients like it.
Okay.
I explain the broker form.
Okay.
I tell them I'm going to make sure the seller pays me because
Okay.
that's my attitude. I got
And you
the,
just added?
I just make the offer and
Yeah.
I add the form asking for what I
Yeah.
want. That's
Okay.
it.
That's what I do too.
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean it's right
Are
now.
we too
at
nice?
least, at least
We're
right
too
now.
nice.
No. It just because if my clients want to see 10 properties myself, I don't have time to call 10 people.
Oh,
see if they're paying
if I
me.
don't have time, I don't have time.
I'm showing the 10 properties. I'm not even asking them to submit the offer. I'm figuring out if they have offer or not have offer. If they have offers, then I'll be more strategic and see, if they're paying. But if they don't have offers, I just submit the offer and put the commission I want to get paid. That's it.
Right. And I
And
could
take
be.
it from
I'm going to be flexible with my buyer.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to do whatever it takes to win for them. I
Exactly.
mean, I'm not going to not sell in the house or whatever. But I have the buyer. I feel like I have the power. I don't want to show that I'm
For
in the
now.
hands of the seller
For now.
for now.
See,
Yeah.
but don't you think like if you don't say nothing, like you're kind of giving up your leverage. Like if you don't ask, like let's say they tell me
Before the showing.
not before the showing, just before you send an offer.
But he's putting the commission on though.
I know he's putting it on there.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like
But then it's like, okay, I got the offer. So now you're putting the ball in your court to have the uncomfortable. If I come back to you and say I'm not paying you, but I got your offer, we're good. We're good with. I have somebody that said, I don't know how it turned out. I was talking to a lender and they copied the lender on the offer.
Okay.
And the sellers replied, "We're good with all the terms except the commission." So then what do you do?
Well, then I got to go back to my.
Yeah, so that's why this is why personally why
No,
I
but
asked
that-
first.
yeah, but
because
it-
if I ask, then I got your cards on the table.
Yeah. But if your buyer like, hey, I want to make sure you make money because I value your time, then
Well,
I could go back to them and listen, my buyer wants me, the seller pays me.
Yeah,
So then what are you doing? He's going to move on with the next property.
you could, but then you're
Or you lower the price.
you're
I'm
putting
just
you're putting yourself at
No, there's a risk. Everything there's a
Yeah.
risk. Of course.
That's
There's a
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I totally,
I
I,
agree.
totally respect that. I mean, I
respect it too, yeah.
I mean, right now my.
I appreciate the respect.
We respect
I appreciate it.
But I mean,
So bad.
I try to handle my business like a shark. I want to be a bull. I want to be in control
Okay.
of the situation.
I mean, you got to be.
I want to come in with 100% confidence.
100%.
And if they come back to me and say that it's not going to work, then I have to reevaluate the whole offer.
Listen, I change depending on who I represent. When I'm a buyer, I'm a shark for a buyer. I do just like you're doing. When I'm a seller, then I'm the bad realtor. Like Brittany one that I answer, yeah, I don't know what we're paying. Just submit your offer.
I still submitted my offer with 2.5.
That's fine. If you answer that, at least I asked.
No, I answer.
But if let's say you were gonna pay. Listen, if you told, let's say Adam's gonna submit, I'm gonna submit. I don't ask you. Adam asks you, and you say I'm paying 2.5. And then I don't ask you, and you're like, you know what? I got your offer. They're only gonna pay you 2. But if I would have asked, I would have had 2.5. I don't know. That's the way I look at it.
Some people, no, I have Realtor, they'll still send me 2.5, or like I go back to them because I have listings from like before.
Yeah.
I got offers now. And it's like, dude, I want to get paid 2.5. I'm like, listen, I was paying only 2.1 on before.
Yeah.
I'm not lying to you. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's what we could pay you. And I show him,
Yeah, that's fine.
And that's it. And we negotiate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, unless if you want it, tell your buyer to bump it up. It's all about the net. The seller wants to get
no.
a certain amount.
I had one that was 2. And I told them, and I just told them. But you got to be consistent, right? You can't tell, I can't tell.
100%. No.
Brittany 2.5.
No,
or
you
Greg
can't be like, oh yeah, for you two, for Brittany.
So if you,
2.5.
but there's sometimes you don't know, and then
no.
You're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah,
You
So
gotta
you gotta be consistent.
whatever you do in
So if
this
you're gonna do the
business.
not tell,
Yeah, but this business.
but you gotta do what the client wants.
I mean, that's
maybe the
basic.
client, like when you go to listing agreement, you make sure your client wants that. Like,
100%.
if the client wants to offer 2.5, then you gotta offer 2.5.
I have different listing agreements right now where we decided just to decide my fee, and then we figure out when the other offer comes in. I did one like that, and then I had another one. She wanted to decide right away. She actually didn't want to. I mean, they're a couple.
Yeah.
They didn't want to pay nobody. They're like, oh, I heard the new law. We don't have to pay nobody, right, Greg? I'm like, listen, we could do that. We decided only me. But I'm just telling you, if I just keep telling everybody I'm not paying you, even when they put an offer, it might hurt us.
Yeah.
And why would it hurt?
Because
Who has to pay? What's the best way to sell something to have the most eyeballs on it, right?
you got offers.
If your buyer's already squeezed,
Correct.
and has barely any money left to even make a down payment,
Correct.
and then you tell them that they have to pay you
Correct.
as well,
Then-
it might be easier for them just to skip
Well,
the property.
and
Great point.
you don't know too if like agents, us, like when things get tight, you'd be like, hey, what about this one? What about that one? Be like, okay, what incentive are you giving everyone to come?
Correct. But again, I told her, like these clients, I told them, hey, listen, it depends what market you're at. If you're Winnetka, where most of the buyers are going to have 20, 30, 40% down, it's no big deal. The buyer will pay the agent. No big deal. We don't have to pay nobody. And if your house is hot, right?
Yeah,
but if you're in a neighborhood, the demographic is working class people, numbers are tight, they probably have an FHA loan or a conventional with 5-10% at the most, then they don't even have money to pay the buyer agent. So you telling them no is going to hurt you.
Exactly.
And especially if you're not a hot property.
Yeah.
If you're property like okay.
And a lot of buyers don't even know about this. So they're like, they have no clue. Like if I tell some of my buyers about and some of them are old school people, and they bought like 5 houses in their life, they would look at me with 3 heads if I say you didn't have to pay me.
Yeah.
They'd be like, what do you
I
mean?
agree with them.
They would say, I sold 5 houses. They pay, not me.
Because at the end of the day, who is paying us? Who's bringing the money to the table? Who's the one making an offer,
It was
bringing the
always
lender?
the buyer.
It's always the buyer.
I disagree.
Why?
I think it's the seller.
Yeah, but the buyer had to pay. What do you mean?
Did-
They always brought the money to the table.
They bring the money to the table,
With
but
the
the
loan
seller's
and
got the
that.
house. They're bringing the house.
Yeah, but the buyer bringing the money. The buyer, okay, if the house is
There's no
$400,000.
sale without
There's
the
no
buyer.
sale without the buyers.
There's no sale without the seller.
The seller always paid the commission. It's
always
it's
factored
bullshit.
into
They
the
always pay the
price.
commission with the buyer money.
Yeah, it was always factored into
These
the price.
sellers. This is all a game for lawyers that they made a $200 million.
Oh yeah, I know that, but I'm saying that you can't say this. It's on the. If you're buying a house for 400, you're paying 400. You're not paying.
But
400
Frank,
plus
when they
commission.
did this, the lawyers said they wanted to help the houses come down in price by saying, okay, did
well,
the
I
houses?
mean, you guys make it sound
And
like
the-
just the
the
buyers.
prices never
the buyers
dropped.
are always paying the commission. I don't believe that.
Listen, I sold my house right now. I sold my own house.
Yeah.
I didn't charge a commission myself. I got all my stuff waived, right?
Yeah.
And for the buyer, I told the buyer agent, okay, how much you want to make? Depending on how much you want to make, the buyer had to pay. I'm like, the buyer's paying you. And then I'll go up and down based on the buyer
The amount they offer.
what they're offering.
Yes.
That's it. So who paid? Did I pay? The buyer paid. I had my net, and that's how much I wanted.
It's always
but
about the net.
it's both ways. It's your money too. I mean, it's not.
No, that's because you're a greedy seller then. Sorry.
What do you mean?
You're like, oh, it's my money. I don't have to. No, because at the end of the day, it's the buyer that's paying, that's bringing the money. See, some sellers, they do get greedy. Maybe like you. When you sell, you're going to be a bad person. You're going to like, oh, the house $400,000. I want it all. Okay?
Yeah.
No, you're
I want
paying
$399.
Every penny.
You're paying what it's worth, right? So when they had an appraisal done, right? The appraisal.
What is worth?
But what it's
Listen,
worth,
appraisal.
but what it's worth is based on
It's
the
what-
seller paying the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
That's what's built into the price.
Wait, what did you just say?
The seller paying the buyer.
Okay, thank you.
Paying. Can't talk today.
The defense rests. The seller,
Yeah.
based on the
Listen,
seller
listen.
paying the buyer's agent.
But
That's my point.
But Frank,
The seller
built
paid.
into the price, right? So if the seller's saying I'm not going to pay you 2%, do they lower the price of the house by 2%? Does a $500,000 house come down to $490 because they're not offering commission? No, they want $510. They don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still gonna be greedy. They're still gonna want
and
the money.
That's
that
my
they're
point.
getting.
And then
Just
the
prove my
value.
point.
Right.
Let's
Prove
talk
my
about-
point.
So
That's
who's
the
gonna
value.
end up paying?
Let's
Yeah.
talk about the value. The value is up to once until you have demand and what the buyer is willing to pay.
Yeah.
That could change really quickly.
Yeah.
I have seen it. I've been doing this a long time. Old
I
man
know.
now. Could change really quick. Anything could change. That's why the government needs to lower the rate even today. Today what is today?
Came down 0.5%
So,
today.
We're 9.18.
Yeah.
And if the Fed came down, I don't know if it'll affect the rates, but if they go down, it's because they want to create the demand. They don't want to slow us down because they're afraid. Because if the demand is not there and the buyer not willing, your value is not the same.
Exactly.
It's all demand and supply.
Yeah,
That's it.
but it's a seller cost, in my opinion. The seller's paying commission.
I mean, it seems like the money that's
I mean,
coming is being borrowed from the
doing it.
buyers.
You're doing it both. The buyer, you feel like the buyer pays when he pays.
Listen, see, that's what happens when you have events XR, Frank. It's like, it's XR money, all right? See, I think about it like you guys have brought commission to the house. Frank is like, no, it's XR money. You know? Sorry, Adam.
No, it's good. It's good to have.
We're getting off topic.
It's good to have both
I don't even know
opinions.
what that meant,
It's
but
good to have both opinions. But anyway, so let's go back to what we were talking about. So you have the form, the seller agrees to pay you. What's changed besides that? I mean, we're not. You obviously can't see the commission anymore. You have to ask for it. The buyer has to sign a form to work with you. Besides that, have we seen anything else that's changed?
No, it's a lot of noise and not a lot of actual changes, right?
I think I'll take that. I'll debate you on that. I think there is changes. There is changes, and there is a lot of worries. But it's our office makes it a little bit more smooth.
Yeah, we're
Because
not
there's-
still strict on that.
Yeah, there's some people, some offices right now, super strict.
Yeah.
With a lot of forms, a lot of changes, and some agents are like stressed out.
So I met someone from Compass yesterday, or not yesterday, last week, and she was saying, which I don't think is accurate, that they're doing like an EXP model where they don't negotiate anyone's commission, which is fine. But she was saying that they can't even, I forget how did she say it, like they can't even, if someone calls to say what the commission is, they're not allowed to even tell.
The company policy, yes.
They're not even like, so if the seller wants to, I'm like, well, what if the seller wants to offer? They're like, no, we're not allowed to.
Company
I go, well,
policy,
that's like, okay.
I mean,
But now it's getting to a point where it's like,
we technically had a policy to not put it online on any of your websites.
Yeah, that's
and everything.
fine.
But when they call you, you could say it.
but it's like, it's getting to be like, what is this? Fascism. You can't do that. Like, if it's the seller's money.
But that's what it is. For you, for us, maybe transition a little bit easier. If we're even adapting the touring agreement, what Brittany was talking about. Touring agreement, for you guys don't know, if a buyer just wants to see a couple houses and they don't know if they like you yet, but they want to see a couple houses, we could make that happen. Right, Adam?
Yep.
Like Zillow do it, right?
Yeah, still came with the touring.
But a lot of companies out here are not doing it.
Yeah, I've heard
you know.
people, that's illegal. But I haven't heard it. It's still on their website.
No, it's legal.
Yeah, that's
Illinois is legal.
Yeah.
Some states, maybe not. It's not
I hear a
legal.
lot of talk from real estate companies. I don't hear a lot of talk from like associations saying anything like this is they can't do this, can't do that.
Because everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
Like it always should be. You know? That's why.
Yeah,
But,
so talking about the buyer agreement, we can go back to that real quick. I was reviewing it again before we came out here, and pretty much what does it say? It says that we agree to show them a certain neighborhood.
Yep.
And it has a time limit on there, so people and the buyers know that there is.
I put like 5 counties on there. Brittany
I just put state of Illinois.
If it's state of Illinois, it's fine. But
it says area, not neighborhood. It says
But
area.
this buyer's agreement it's a binding contract. So it's important that our people know if they sign with someone else
Yes.
that you need to see
Yes.
how long the term is for.
Yeah.
Because the contract will not be canceled unless
Yes.
both parties agree.
Because we're cool. But imagine if you sign with, nothing wrong, again, love you guys. Imagine you sign with Redfin. Imagine you sign with some other bigger,
Let's imagine you
bigger
sign with
shops.
your cousin's butcher's son.
Yeah.
And
they're like, no, you gotta pay me.
Sign up for a year with the guy, and you find out he
You
knows
get-
more about Gabagool than he knows
Yeah.
about Norwich.
Yeah.
You will get sued.
You would, well, I mean, if you try to, because if you met with Greg and said, Greg, you're a professional, I really like working with you. You sign with Greg,
Yep.
you end up buying a house with Greg.
Yep.
Guess who gets paid?
Yep.
Gabagool.
Yep.
Because he has first right, because you went on and you signed it willy-nilly.
Well, yeah, or he
Yeah.
could stop the. I mean, it depends on if he knows, but he could stop the closing.
I think I could still get paid. It's just Capicola is gonna go after the buyer.
Yeah, he can go after the buyer.
and then
Try to get
paid
double
as
for
Because
well.
there's still
Yes.
procuring costs, there's still
Yeah.
all that. I mean,
Yes.
the rules haven't really changed in that respect because that could have been
Yeah.
pre a lawsuit too.
Yeah,
It's like,
So-
a listing, like selling your house. We've already had these contracts.
But you got to watch out signing.
Yeah,
you
you do.
gotta
Well,
watch
yeah,
out.
you gotta know the person. You
Yeah,
gotta,
because there's also a retainer fee on there. Frank really loves the retainer fee,
Oh,
by
I
the
do.
way. We
It's
call
a
it the
joke.
Frank special.
No, now
But
you're painting a bad
you
picture.
can make a buyer agree to pay you a certain amount of money whether they buy a house or not.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Wow.
happening much.
I know.
Yes, like lawyers, when we hear it too. We hear that only in the movies. I've never actually had a retainer fee with a lawyer, but
Yeah.
pretty
I
much,
had it.
yeah,
It sucks.
it sucks, right? It's a fund, $1,000, let's say. Every time Frank comes out, he's got to charge you $100.
Then
And
they-
that fleet, that money just keeps disappearing
Yep.
until you find something.
I like that picture painting of me.
Yeah, so-
you're using good examples.
I haven't, no diss. I've talked to realtors who said they're using it. God bless
What-
them. But
so-
I have not used it. I don't plan on using
Back
it.
to the
No.
contract. Do you when you've had how many you've done with buyers? How has the conversation been?
Yeah, so a lot of people have already heard about it, right? They don't really know exactly what the details are. So I go over it with them. I explain to them that we're going to put a time limit on it. I typically put a couple months, but does that really matter? Because we do have a cancel anytime
Yeah.
policy. And pretty much I tell them that legally I have to explain to you that I represent you, that I don't get, the old saying was, it was free service, right? The buyer got a free service, the
Right.
seller paid for everything. And you have to explain to them that that's not true.
Another
That was another Frankism. Yeah.
another point to my argument. Thank you. But go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
And well, that was wrong, right, Frank? It ended up not being true. Ended up that the buyer is actually paying
Well,
us.
possible.
Possible,
But,
right.
I mean, there's that chance.
And so to make it long story short, I tell them that this is the kind of fee that I'm looking for. I'm going to ask the seller to pay it. Don't worry about it.
But what's the feedback? But are they like, oh yeah, don't worry about it? Or are they-
Once I explain, it's been a problem. I've not had one person not sign it.
What about you, Brittany?
Same. And once I explain it to them, and once
You
I let
explain
them
it
know,
pretty much the same?
yeah, the same way. And then I've always been cancel anytime. It works for me. It makes my clients happy.
But we've always, even before the settlement, that if you go out, you could go show them 2-3 years, and then they could go buy with somebody else. That's how it was.
Mine, as long as they don't have to pay, they're okay with it. They'll sign as long as they don't have to pay. They're like, okay. well,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
As long as you're not getting it from me.
yes. Yes.
I've been getting a lot of text
Yeah.
messages, and they're like, hey, Greg, do I have to pay you now in the next
No,
house?
I know.
They ask because what does that
But
mean?
technically,
What does that mean?
Technically, you can't put. You have to put an amount. And
No, I know.
you can't put like seller only what seller pays.
Of course.
And this is
Yeah.
good because we actually have experience with this because the listing agreement is the same contract. And
Yeah, but
we
listing's
always-
a little different.
Yeah, but there are realtors that will hold sellers to the terms of their
Yeah.
contract.
Oh my
I'm
God,
sure you know
big
someone
time.
who's been in that.
Yep.
Where if you don't want to sell with them anymore because you're just not vibing, they'll force you to take your house off the market until the contract expires.
Fees.
Yep.
Pay fees, get a lawyer, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
we-
We've never done that.
No.
I mean, if you don't like working with me,
Well,
That's fine.
Again, another reason to that. Like we have an agent here. I think he worked at another one. I forget what was it
Ad
Where-
Properties.
Ad Properties. And he told us every time he canceled a listing, they charged him $500-600.
600.
So
The brokerage.
the brokerage would charge
The
him
brokerage.
$600. So imagine you got 3 listings like now is when
1,800.
we got $1,800 and you didn't sell anything and you paid pictures. So you got $500-600 in pictures if you didn't even
You're
do.
like $4,000 in.
Yeah, you're $4,000 in.
You made zero.
And you made zero.
Yeah.
So
He's in the negative.
There's another. We don't charge
Maybe
anything.
we should consult with Ad Properties. Our business,
I
you know?
mean,
I
sometimes
don't know, I'm sorry.
sometimes you hear these things, you're like, I can come in. You could see how. I mean, I don't even go down that road, but it's like, man, they're making money and just people not selling anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what's the
and I think the buyer's
But
going to have the
that's
same
why.
issue.
Where's that agent at now?
Imagine with this
He's
buyers.
not at properties.
Imagine.
No.
Came
I
here.
feel like some of these corporate brokers are going to go the same route with the buyers.
Yeah.
Hey, sign up. You agree?
Yeah.
Listen,
I agree.
$500 to hang out with us. hey, I showed you 20 houses. You ended up moving to Indiana. That's
I agree.
awesome, but you owe me $500.
I
mean,
agree.
why not? If they're doing it on the sales side, count all the miles and all the showings and everything. Anyways, so yeah, we talked about the buyer agreement. We talked about that. What do you
How's
guys
it-
want
I
to
mean,
talk
How
our
about?
about-
model, our models is different, right? We're a little bit more smooth. And I made, years ago when I just started, they used to make fun of my model. A lot of the companies. Greg, what are you doing? Cancel any time? What the heck? You know what I mean? They thought like I was. But then over the years, my way actually ended up being productive and worked. And I sold. And these people are not even in business. The people that
Oh,
talk.
because they're trying to. I mean,
know?
unfortunately, you got to waste a lot of time. We were talking before
100%.
we got here, and
Yes.
it's like they don't want to waste time.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to waste time, you're only going to go. There's a low ceiling to that.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
for me, I had a couple. I had one girl get like I don't know. I've been working with her for 3 years, and I told her, I'm like, listen, I've been showing you houses for 3 years. Like this just came out. You got to sign it. I didn't show her anything yet, but it's like I talked to her for 45 minutes. That was so far the only. But whatever. She hasn't seen anything yet. She's looking at one complex, but
Okay.
But other than that, everyone's been pretty receptive.
You've been smooth.
Smooth.
How about like on the seller side of things?
Yeah.
You guys do a lot more listings.
Mm-hmm.
How is it? How are you guys presenting it to the sellers?
I mean, for me, I think they've always. I had one. Some people explain it to me, and they were more like, "Well, why wouldn't we pay?" So far, I know Greg had a couple of those.
Yeah, I had
but
some.
he's had some other ones.
I had different
But I've had people that not selling tell me like, "Oh, I don't have to pay anymore."
Yeah.
But I'm like, "Well, someone's." I kind of say, "Well, no one's going to work for free." I mean, there's a chance, but.
Yeah, everyone knows what's going on, and if they could save money, they're going to try to save money.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out a way.
As long, they'll like me. They're like, yeah, Greg, you're a good guy. You got a good family, but money's money. It is what it is. So if they don't have to pay me, they don't have to pay me, right? Or if they don't have to pay the other agent. And then I just got to show them like, hey, it's not in your benefit to not pay the other agent. Or right now, let's come up with an agreement what you pay me for my work, and then we see what kind of offers we get. So it depends. It's case by case.
Okay.
Depend on the person, depend on what they're comfortable, And then one of my last one, I decided the whole thing. We decided like, hey, if you sell it by yourself, I'm going to give you 2.5. But if there's another agent, then my max I'll pay is 5%. I'm like, okay, cool, and that's it. And she
Nice.
decided right away. Like she's like, that's okay.
That's good.
Okay. And then there's ones that they just want to negotiate when the offer comes. And the offer, like on that one, I do have it under contract. Originally, I had 3%. I was going to get 3%. I was happy, make more money. But then the offer came. The other agent wanted 2.5. The property wasn't that hot. It wasn't like I had like 20 offers. And then I'll go back to the 20 offer things. And so at that point, I had to, but they didn't want to overpay too much, right? So at that point, I'm like, I took a loss. I took a cut. So I did 2.5, and I gave the other guy 2.5. He brought me a buyer. They're strong. I didn't want to piss him off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I told the seller, and we're all happy, right? But there's going to be a situation if spring comes and I have a hot property and I do have 20 offers and I spent a lot of time and money and maybe, the seller's not paying me that much. Maybe the other agent might not make his 2.5.
Yeah.
So it depends on the market, depends on the demographic. It's going to depend.
Okay.
We'll see.
I think. Let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens. They still got to approve it.
We'll see what happens.
In the winter, they still got to approve
It needs to be finalized,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's another fishy thing. You never know. Things could change all the time.
Yeah, it could
We've
change.
seen it the past few years. Think about it from COVID to presidents to people getting shot to new laws, right? Maybe there's a new administration. They killed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or
Or
maybe
they-
the old administration kills the whole
To say,
thing.
okay, this isn't doing anything, or it's bad, and they
Right?
The house prices didn't come down.
Yeah. You never know. Like think about it.
Buyers.
In California, they have something new coming up, and correct me if I'm wrong. They're going to give $150,000 to first-time buyers, right? And now even Kamala Harris is talking about $25,000.
Yeah.
So you never know. Things change all the time,
yeah.
all the time. So nothing is.
Yeah, this could be a year, 2 years, and it could go back.
We'll see.
It could go. So
We'll see.
right now, this is where we're at.
Because I think if a buyer let's say a buyer's, because let's be honest, there's a lot of hate, right? No one wore ties today. We're gonna get flack on that later. I want to talk about that. But let's say you say,
Should
you know
be
what?
working Matt Larcy.
I know. Let's say
Matt. Tie for Sam.
let's say that somebody says, you know what, I don't need a stupid buyer agent, right? I'm going to go directly to the seller. They're asking 500 grand.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to them, tell them I don't have an
Yeah.
agent. You don't have to pay 2.5%. I should
Yeah.
get $12,000 off this house, right?
Yep.
What's the seller going to say, Frank?
No.
It's funny you bring that up. We had a thing here, and one of the realtors was saying like the seller approached, they approached them, and they're like, I want that to be a credit, but at the end of the day, it's all the same money. It's like, okay, you make the offer, and if they take it, they take it. If the agent wants to dual agent,
I mean, it's like Redfin. Redfin gives kickbacks.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kickback. It's a kickback.
Yeah.
Redfin does it.
But
Redfin
but
do it all the
that's
time.
been around forever. Like you
Yes.
could have done that. You could have done that forever.
Yeah.
You could have gone and just. I'm gonna call the listing agent, deal directly with them. I'm gonna call that list. But it's like, again, kind of goes back to the market. If it's a hot property, that listing
Yeah.
agent's got 30 showing. By the time they call, he's probably got 30 showings scheduled by other agents. And then you gotta
Yeah.
put the best offer. You know.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of hate in the industry. 100%. A lot of people out there hate us, unfortunately, 'Cause we show all the bubbling and the good times and us, dress up nice and sometimes with ties and nice cars.
Yeah.
But we work hard and nobody knows because we really don't show it. It doesn't create clicks and
And-
create a TV show. If you're showing you're working hard and you're helping painting or on the buyer or seller's crying on your shoulder, right?
Yeah, we talked about this, right? Us poor realtors, but we're one of the only. How many people you know in sales? I mean, sales is not just being a car salesman.
Yes.
It's selling insurance. It's
Yes.
selling stocks and investments.
But see, our deal, I think we talked about it too.
Yeah.
Our sales is different from a lot of other people's sales.
Our
Like,
money's disclosed.
our money's disclosed 100%.
Yes.
And then I feel like there's more emotions around our sales.
It's
Yeah.
the biggest purchase you're gonna make in your life.
Versus like if I sold I guess my personality, I would always feel bad. But some people sell like a product. Insurance is insurance, right?
Yeah.
Instead with a house, like, people moving in, people moving out, their family's gonna grow up there. It's a lot going on.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree. I mean, still the median income for a realtor is under 50 grand a year.
Yeah.
It's not like we're crushing it
It
here.
is, and 87% of new agents quit within the first 2 years.
Three.
Three.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's tough there a little bit,
When people ask me if
But-
they should become a realtor, I typically tell them to go the other way. It's not. It's a hard. It's a tough business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, you just
Costs
gotta
a lot of money.
You gotta give yourself 5 years. Like you're gonna do it for 5 years and maybe not make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not gonna do it and then. I remember at one point someone's like, "Oh, my husband's got this. I need to make money like next month." I'm like, "Okay."
No, that's not happening.
I go, "It's not
This is
happening."
not the
I
job.
go get a part-time job where you get money right away.
But then again, it could be a lot of reward, right? It
Yeah.
could be rewarding if you
Yeah.
do it right and create that relationship.
Very rewarding. Very
Yeah.
rewarding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I always encourage someone to give it a try. Like if you're gonna try, like it doesn't. If you want to do it, give it
Yeah.
a try. But just know it's not easy.
But going back to the buyers, going by themselves, I think I got a prediction. I think within 10 years, the buyers are going to change. There's going to be better systems. Like they're already trying. A lot are trying. The Zillow, the Redfin. Everybody's trying to make it a smooth transition, right? To how to buy. Once the technology gets more advanced, maybe you have the robot scans your eyes to go in the house. It might become more automatically and easier. So the buyer agent might be exiting out little by little. That's why I think it's going to be little boutiques are going to survive. The agent that's really, really knowledgeable, because he's going to be always around, because you're always going to need some person. But there's going to be half of the industry might disappear in 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah. It's going to be the mainstream and the luxury.
Yeah. So that's why you and an agent, you better be relevant. You better be on top of your clients. You better know what you're talking about. You better learn. You better study, because they're coming for you. It is what it is. They're coming for you. They're coming for your job and your money.
Oh yeah, the
That's
big Zillow, the Redfin, that's been since always. They're always trying to figure out how to get.
Yeah, but they're trying.
And
They're
where
getting
does
there.
that where does that money go?
Listen,
Where-
everybody, I'm on Zillow Premier. Maybe they'll kick me out after this. They have a good system. These people that I'm meeting are real people.
Yeah.
Real and ready to buy.
Yeah.
So there's not fake leads. There's not fake people.
Well, there's
they're
more.
real. That means they're capturing them. They know what they're doing. Little by little, it's going to get better and better and better.
Right.
And why they need Frank Scaletta? Can barely answer his phone. I go in the system, boom, boom, click, click. I'm in the house, click. Put an offer, click. Talk with this person, click. Somebody from India calls me back. I'm just saying, you gotta be
yeah, but
that's not. We're not gonna go away. I'm saying a lot of half of the industry will go away, but that's why you got to be on top.
But like,
you got to be top.
You got to be top. But I think also like that the people they have, like they have to be paid. Like Redfin tried that, it didn't work.
Yeah, but that was a different era. That was you still, Frank. That you're more old school. Your kids are not you. They're not you.
Oh, I know.
They know to use Instagram, but you can't even put.
Yeah,
a
but
post.
if someone else again,
Your kid knows to use technology.
Yeah, but
1,000%.
that's the same thing. But someone still needs to get in the car, drive over there, open the door.
If the robots could open the door, or there's like you scan your eyes, you get your identity and everything. If they find a way and they approve it, because the Zillow, the Redfin, the big companies are gonna have lobbyists. The lobbyists are gonna go to the governor and buy the politicians and change the law.
Yeah, then you could just not have.
So then you don't need an agent.
If they change
unless the seller does not agree to that kind of access.
Yeah, but at one point it's all like you get used to it.
But once they have the majority. But the point right now, the only thing that's saving you is a realtor needs to show the house.
For now.
Right now. But once that changes, Zillow could just take over and hire.
I'm just saying.
No, but that's always been the way. If they change that rule. But they could change it last year, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It would have changed.
Correct.
But for someone to go get their license, want to get in the industry, and then go there and work, they're showing a lot of houses, and you got to. It got to a point where it's not worth it, where they would just go get a job.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Of course.
I mean, think about
right
it.
now.
If you
they change that law and you can hire someone for $15 an hour or $20 an hour, then maybe not. But right now, it's not there. Like you have to be licensed to show it.
I mean, think about.
But then if you're not licensed to show it, then the buyer agreements go away. All that stuff goes away.
Yeah, I mean, our viewers, a lot of them are clients of ours.
It's all tied together.
A lot of our viewers are clients of ours.
Correct.
And they know they experienced the experience with us, right? They went on that journey together. Could you imagine if we made $500 or $1,000 a transaction and we had to do it 100 or 200 times a year?
I won't be doing it. I mean, you wouldn't survive.
I mean, the average agent does 8.
Yeah, I know.
You just said the 87% quit. Why do they quit?
Yeah.
If they're making money, because they could go get another job and make more money and not have no stress. Yeah. No one call them. I'm getting texts.
I'm not talking about now. Now, this is why all this, 817 things change, and nothing has changed.
Okay, let me.
You know why now hasn't changed? Because we're still stuck with our ways.
Yeah, but
when these kids grow up, my daughters, your kids.
Yeah, but those kids don't know. They don't know half. Like you think, in the past, those people were more laid back. They bought a house. They went, put the money. Okay, bought the house. Now, when you're on vacation, how much is your phone ring? You're not showing any. I'm not showing any homes. 7 in the morning text.
That's true.
What are they texting? They're not texting. I'm not going to show them anything.
So you think these kids are never going to get
Oh,
savvy?
no. That's actually going back. I think it's going backwards.
I know, but what about there's a platform that makes them savvy? Listen, have you heard of this thing called ChatGPT?
Okay, what are they going? They're not
I'm
writing.
just saying.
They're not writing.
What about Zillow integrates ChatGPT?
They're not writing. They're not writing an essay. They're going.
Dude, ChatGPT is not
So
only
what
that.
about?
ChatGPT is not
Okay,
only
what are you
that.
gonna do with ChatGPT?
Okay.
Explains you the steps.
Like,
No, but okay. Let's say 10 years from now,
I'm telling you.
technology is crazy. It's a click. You can do all this stuff.
Yep.
You
Now
can
what
do it now,
happens with inspections and all this, your
Emotions.
AI, everything? What happens during
Emotion.
that time?
I know, but people are getting
Who's
less
negotiating?
what did the
Your
lady?
agent negotiates for you on those inspection items.
That-
Who's doing that for you?
There'll be one agent oversee everything, has 3-4
So dual
transactions.
agent?
They'll click there's a form right now. You could click. I sold a bunch of houses this year, non-member. They're not member. They signed it. They use me directly because they don't want to pay the commission and everything. They went to me. I'm like, okay, you got to sign. You're not a member. And then
On the
they did
seller
everything-
side.
They did everything on their own.
On the seller side
know,
of
but
And
things?
this is savvy people. Imagine if more people get like that.
But Greg, we've done hundreds of these deals. We've learned so much about negotiating.
Yes.
I mean, I could see sometimes by just talking to somebody for 30 seconds.
Do you
I can
negotiate
see
airline tickets?
how much price? No,
The
I'm
airlines
saying.
it's the same product over and over.
Yeah. And
Just tell you, do you negotiate some new construction? Do you negotiate
Okay,
some-
insurance agent. They sit at a desk, don't go nowhere, and they're still in business.
What do you mean?
They're still in business. You're an insurance agent.
Yeah,
Why?
for now.
Okay, if that's still here, then they're like.
That's just a matter of time too.
And,
I'm just telling you, a lot of things
Greg's-
are getting automatic. You
I
have
did-
to look at the future. It's the same thing when I talk to my wife, and there was Blockbuster. We used to go, and I'm like, this is going to go
You're comparing
away.
a house
People
to a
are
movie.
lazy.
Two
People
dot-
don't
two
want to
dot-
go.
two
They're
dot-
ready with the pajamas at Blockbuster. I'm like, it's a matter of time. They don't even want to get out of the freaking door. And then what's it called? That
Redbox.
Redbox.
No, not Redbox. The
Netflix.
new one. Netflix came. They used to mail it to you. So guess what happened? A lot of lazy people, included us.
Yeah, but that's
we used to order in the mail. And then I'm like, oh, it's a matter of time the internet gets fast, and they're gonna stream it right on the TV. Guess what happened? I wish I would have bought a stock. I would have been big
but
money.
that's a different.
We're
You're talking about.
going off topic. We're going off topic a little bit. I mean,
You're talking about renting a movie.
what you're talking about
That's
is
like that's not even a close.
Apples and
talking-
It's
oranges.
like a $2 investment.
Americans losing jobs, which is.
I'm not
terrible.
gonna lie to you, Frank. You think real estate is important. It's important, but you think you're too.
I'm not saying me. I'm saying
I'm
there's
just
a
saying
lot.
you think
I'm saying there's other industries that it's way.
It's
more
important, but you think it's like
Okay.
we're way too important.
Look at-
we're
okay.
not that.
Okay, look at loans.
The transaction's easy,
Look
man.
at
It's not hard.
look at loans. Why do they have loan officers? Why is there brokers that are independent?
But
Why doesn't Wells Fargo and Chase just take it over?
Have you seen? Yeah, it's getting there a little bit because Wells Fargo and Chase don't want to like guarantee. Right now they like brokers because it's back from government to cover the loans in case they.
Yeah, but
back
they don't
out.
because they
there's a whole
sell. They
system right
sell.
now.
They know how to do the loan. Call 800 number at Chase.
All right, let's-
Call 800 number. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
They're fired. 2 seconds.
yes.
Call
Greg-
Zillow at 2. It's Sunday morning.
Look,
9 to 5.
For
I
now.
th-
For
I think-
now.
I-
They're
Do you like Comcast customer service?
Oh my
become little
goodness.
boutiques
Do you like
too.
Comcast
I
customer
do
service?
not.
Do you like AT&T
That's why
customer
the little
service?
boutique. Yes, I don't like. Listen, I don't like the Starbucks. I look for a coffee shop that's by itself, mom and pops. I try to find them.
Yeah, okay.
But the Starbucks are dominating. The little guy's there for 20, 30 more years. He's
They're
gonna go away.
dominating in areas.
Are they dominating?
They're,
Yes or no?
they're, the good
They're
coffee
dominating, yes or
shop.
no?
If you're good, they don't dominate.
I mean, good. You got to be like in Italy. That's the only way they can dominate. Everywhere else they dominate, dude.
Is Greg?
You go on here, south, north, west. I'm
Yeah,
telling
but
you.
who
They
was
have-
their competition?
They have a system.
Who's their
that's
competition?
They took down all the little guys.
Who?
They took down all the little boutiques.
So
I don't know.
okay. I understand where Greg's going with this. I think.
I mean, I'm going a little crazy. It's
Yeah,
off
you are.
topic.
I think-
Listen, 10. Okay, let me go back.
No,
For
hold
the
on,
next
hold
10
on.
years, I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to make my money. I'm going to have the relations. I'm telling you, 10 years from now, it might be a completely different
Yes,
industry.
it will.
That's all.
It'll follow
I'm
travel.
going to be around. I'm
It'll-
going to be the one having the robots.
It'll follow travel, right? I have some experience in travel. They've
Yeah,
been.
sure, travel.
Yeah, they've
But
been.
what I'm saying is you're
they've been-
selling the same thing.
Yeah, they've
like
been-
I could go buy a ticket
Uh-huh.
and get
On your own.
403B, and
Yes.
it's the same
Yes,
thing.
they've been
I
telling.
can't go get a house.
They've been telling my family that we're going to go out of business for 30 years. The internet's going to kill us,
Okay.
right? Yes, business has
background,
slowed
right? Your
down.
travel
Yeah,
background?
my family owns a
Okay.
travel business,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
40 years. Yes, business slowed down a little bit, but guess what? They just had one of their best years. Why?
Why?
People went and tried the corporate route.
Yep.
Calling someone in an international country
Yeah.
and trying to get customer service, waiting on hold hours, having terrible customer
That's true.
service
But why
by
are
the
you
computer.
surviving? Why are you surviving?
Because they come back and realize they appreciate the service,
Okay.
and there's a value
But
to
why?
it.
How many little boutique agency?
There's not a lot. Well, it got crushed. I mean, they got crushed.
So
I mean,
most of them left, right?
Right.
Let's say how many left in the market? 50%.
yeah, less than that probably.
yeah, but there's a lot online.
Yeah,
They're online.
and then what I'm saying
I
is
got
it's
some
gonna
ticket
change.
from Flight.
That's what I'm
Hub.
saying.
It's not. I'm not getting it from American Airlines.
We're gonna survive, but maybe let's say our office.
But they
has,
shifted. They're online.
let's say our office has 30 agents right now. Maybe in 10 years you only have 5. I'm just saying that could.
I
happen.
just
Lot of
I
industry.
just see if it's gonna go that route. I just see other industries that are way more that don't do anything. They did not. I don't say they don't do anything, but they're not leaving a desk. So you're just replacing a
I don't
desk.
think because like you mentioned insurance. Insurance. Who owns a house is insurance. Who gets insurance? People that are older, right? They own a house. It's not like the 10, 15-year-old. You got to wait for this new generation. What is it called? Gen Z,
Gen Z.
Gen
Z,
Z.
Y, whatever it's called.
Yeah, but they don't.
Gen Z, Gen Alpha.
Once these guys grow up, my kids grow up, your kids
But they-
grow up.
they have-
These are different beasts. The technology is going to get more advanced, and they're going to get. Savvy.
Yeah, but with the,
Hey,
our,
little Benjamin knows how to use my phone. He's 3.
Now,
yeah, but our industry's an older.
Get ready.
I'm not going to call it old skeleton
Our,
to show them how.
our industry's an older industry.
I'm just saying.
He won't. He's gonna call.
He won't.
He's gonna call his
You're
mom.
gonna,
Yeah.
you're gonna be
He's
like,
gonna tell
you know,
me.
Yeah, he's
Let's
gonna call
see,
someone.
let's-
Not his
Our
mom.
buddies we used to see at the cafe.
Well,
Let's see.
listen. When
Old
you're old,
realtors.
listen. Our industry, you could see. I could get a business card of the picture, and I know who the client is by the picture of the agent. It's just that's different. That's because someone that's 30 is gonna go with someone that's 30.
I know, but
I'm talking like, okay, what are they gonna do? Okay, you could get in the house by yourself. Okay. But my thing is, when my phone is ringing all weekend, and I'm
Okay.
not showing houses. My
Yeah.
phone's ringing. Why is it ringing?
These people need you right now.
Because they have questions. Oh,
Yeah,
they're
of
freaking
course.
out. Oh, what's this going on? What's
Yeah,
that?
because they need you right now. Right now, technology is not that.
Greg, we
effective.
heard.
So what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do with ChatGPT?
Once they're old, yeah, they're gonna ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT is gonna answer it better than you.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it's true.
Did you ever-
They're actually gonna hear your conversation, ChatGPT, and probably translate it to them.
Do you remember what the statistic was and how many people cried during a transaction? What was it?
Oh, it's quite a bit.
Do you remember what it was?
The agent or the client?
Client, 50%.
Right.
Agents not disclosed.
50% of all buyers cry on their first time.
It's a
buying a home
stressful.
price.
Listen,
Okay.
I just did it buy and sell, and I was stressed out.
Yes.
I'm
it
like,
is.
what the heck?
It
I
is.
was stressed
It's
out.
really nice to have someone hold
You
your
know?
hand during the process.
Yeah,
It's
it
nice to have
is.
someone who's done it multiple times and can help
That's
you
what-
negotiate a price, bring in someone they can
I'm
trust as far as an
advocating
inspector.
the agent that's knowledgeable, that's
Lawyer.
smart, that
Yes.
studies.
But the
that-
door openers
The door openers are
gone.
I don't want to say it in a mean way, but those could go.
But they-
I was a door opener when I started because I didn't know nothing. My family was in real estate. I didn't know jack shit.
Yeah.
So I had to be a door opener, but I learned little by little about the house, what's going on. So you are an agent out there, you better start learning.
Oh yeah. Well, there's like Redfin we could use. There's good Redfin agents and there's bad ones.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're
So and those the
They're
bad
acting like
the bad ones go away.
they're
It's
acting
just-
like the robots.
Yeah, bad ones go away. The bad ones go away. But that's always been the case. Like if you're bad, you're bad. Like you're not gonna get business.
We got buyer agreements. How is the market going with you guys so far? What's going on? Are you guys still busy? Do you guys see any pushback, any decline? What's going on? What are you guys experiencing so far?
Because it's technically slower in the fall, that it's better for my buyers. I had people that I couldn't get under contract because they just couldn't. They kept getting outbid. So like I always tell them like, hey, this is the time. Like from now until January 1st, less competition. Now's the time.
Yep. It's turning.
I
that's
always
always been-
recommend
it's
my
always
buyers
been-
in
it's
fall
always
too.
been-
I feel like it's turning into a buyer's market.
It always does.
Little
And,
bit.
and then with the rates coming down,
Yeah.
if the rates drop and it's springtime, it's gonna be gangbusters. in the spring.
What about election? Is that affecting?
I think so. I think there's some people kind of just waiting to see what happens, but I don't know. For the
Who's
average,
waiting? The rich guy or the
I think investors,
investors?
because they want to see. I mean, with rates being high, it's hard to get like investment properties. A lot of them, it's hard for them to make sense unless you get
Yeah.
them right.
That's true.
But I mean, if you're an average guy, you need a house. But some people's lease expires in the spring, and they're like, I still got till March or April.
They don't want to move in the
They don't want to
winter.
do it, but it's like then you're gonna be under the gun, and you're gonna be forced. You're gonna have to compete, and either you're gonna renew your lease, or you're gonna have to go in very aggressively on the offers.
Yeah.
Usually, I find in the spring, unless things change. You never know; anything could change anytime. But.
So now, if rates are looking like they're going to drop, we have to get ready in spring. So if you're looking to find a deal, we're suggesting now is the time. As a buyer,
The only problem, there's no inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not gonna get better. I don't know if
Right.
it's gonna get better in the spring.
Yeah, but if the rates do loosen up a little bit, and someone
well-
who's in the threes can get out of the house they've been stuck in with
Yep.
4 kids and 2 bedrooms
Yep.
and jump
Yeah.
into the 5s, they might do it.
So then inventory might increase.
Yeah, but then it's kind of an even trade. Or let me ask you guys this: have you guys seen the last 2 years your sellers, like let's say they upgraded or whatever, and they had a property that they had a rate of 3%? Are they hanging on or are they selling it?
They're hanging.
They're
They're still
hanging
hanging
on.
by a
They're
thread.
hanging on?
they're hanging
Oh, yeah.
on.
So they buy
Even
the new
with the
one,
property tax
they buy,
increase,
so
they're
they
hanging
buy
on.
a new one and then they hang on to the old one.
No, I'm sorry. No. They
So
sell.
you're still seeing them dump
Yeah,
them?
they get out. They need the money.
Yeah, most of them need the money, but
Yeah.
there are. I had a couple that held on. They're like I got 2.5%.
Yeah.
They bought
Yeah,
it.
but that's rare.
Yeah,
That's
it's
more
not-
savvy, and they could like
Yeah,
They
that's
have the
true.
means
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah,
That's I know
not
that
everybody.
because I think everyone's like, well, then people will make the move to sell. However, but then they still need a place.
It's tough. It depends on the situation. It's
But
hard
it
to
will
say.
open up a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be some more
I feel
movement.
like it'll open up. Yeah.
Yeah. Supposedly the Fed said that they're going to cut the rates a couple more times until
Correct.
spring next year. We'll see.
We'll see. They said that last year. and
Yeah, they
didn't
said
cut
that
it
last
at all.
year.
I mean, they got to see how the economy goes.
Today they said half a point, but I talked to Josh Jones, one of our lenders, and he told me that you won't see immediate drops in mortgage rates
Okay.
when they announce cuts because the
market
mortgage and the market has already kind of priced it in, anticipating that these cuts were going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's going to take time for everything to fall together, and the election's only 2 months away. It's kind of crazy. So,
Yeah. I think they want to keep the economy moving, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they got to make sure they're trying to get they've been trying to get inflation under control, but now they're like, okay, let's
If you lower the rates, there's more house sales, there's more listings, there's more buyers.
But also, a lot of people on TikTok are saying if the rates come down, prices go up. And I don't know if that's true or not either.
Yes and no, because I feel like before there was more money in the economy, with a lot of there was just more money in the economy. I feel like now it's a little bit.
Yeah, like kind of like the rents. Like the rents went up. I think now they're at a point where it's like, okay, how much more are you gonna push it?
I don't see it. I don't see
Like
it. And me too. Like even to buy, like okay, go up. How are they gonna go up? If the guy makes $30 an hour, he makes $30 an hour. Before they used to make like $20 an hour, and everything, the inflation kind of like made a lot of salaries go up. And,
I guess their thought process was the lower the rate, the more you can afford every month. So less interest, more equity, but I don't really believe in that.
The other thing too is with the rates coming down, like construction, they can't. With the rates being high, they can't do construction because like the materials are high.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. So I don't know. It's kind of a complex issue with this inflation, and now we have more people coming in the country. So all those, so it's like demand's going to be even more.
I mean, also they're worried about the stock market, right? And they want to keep that steady.
Yep.
And not go down because you might say like, oh, that's not important. It is important because there's a lot of big companies, a lot of people work around these big companies. They're in the stock market. They're publicly traded.
Yeah, well, and then people look at their 401k, right? And it's just it's psychological. If you see your 401k dropping and you see your investments dropping, you're like, all right, are you gonna go spend more money? Are you gonna go buy the bigger house? Now you're only my company lost money. Yeah, my company lost money. Am I gonna have a job next year?
A lot of people call me wondering how I'm doing. And I tell them the truth. I say business is down. I feel like everyone's kind of, and every small business owner that I talk to are all taking a hit right now.
Correct.
And it's we had a boom for a long time. Money was flowing like gold and everything and like off trees, and it's starting to button up. And I think that's for everybody, including my case as well. So like Frank said, are people running around splashing money around? Some people are. We've been waiting probably years in this market to get an opportunity, but I think the average Joe is a little tight.
Yeah, I think the average buyer though, and even all seller, they're having difficult times. It's hard.
Yeah.
Like, especially here in Illinois, the taxes went up. There's some areas 20 to 30%.
Big time.
Your gas bill is up. Your electric bill is up.
Insurance is up.
Your insurance. Oh, insurance. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Start like yelling right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, every single property. It's crazy.
No,
I can't believe it.
I get people that they got the house they wanted like 3 or 4 years ago. They were talking about selling because their taxes went up so much and they're like, our house needs some work too. We're gonna improve, and they're thinking that. Now it's just to a point where all our money's going to our house.
Yeah.
So now they're going to pull back and go buy something. They're going to try to sell their house. And buy something a little bit.
It's kind of
with less taxes.
Yeah. One sad thing I do see like now happening, around the foreclosure time, a lot of people could have bought with one salary, and the partner could have decided to stay home, raise the kids, take care of the family, kind of like the old school way back in the 70s was, right? And now. It's back to both people got to work.
Dinks.
Or they're not going to make it.
It's all about the dinks.
2 incomes.
Dinks?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Sorry.
That means dual income, no kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 incomes. Yep.
Yeah. That became it became a trending saying because it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, who else can afford $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 mortgages nowadays?
It's tough. Yeah. You got big mortgage, you still got all the expenses. You want to do, you don't want to live poor. You want to, go out to dinner, buy a nice suit like Frank has, But
we see this working with buyers. We see this, and we know this is what it is, and we're working our butts off to try to figure out a solution because it's very tough. The last thing we want is to have someone be house poor. I mean, that's
correct. So they need to do. I don't know. First of all, the government, not only the government, the state, they can't keep increasing
with the taxes. The taxes
and
because what happens?
It's out of control.
The landlord has got an apartment building, so even if you're a renter, the guy gets hammered with taxes. I mean, there's a apartment building in Elmwood Park, $30,000.
Yeah,
$30,000 taxes.
Yeah,
it's not.
How many units?
9.
And what happened, Frank?
But it's 30,000.
Frank,
That's
so
like
much.
almost $4,000 a unit.
Yeah.
Frank, so what
bad.
happens to the cash flow for the landlord?
Hey, he's got to pass it on.
Exactly. So who gets hit?
The guy's not living
The
there.
tenant.
The tenant.
The guy's not
Rents
living
increase.
there. The guy, it doesn't make sense for him to have it.
And then what happens? Some tenants could pay it. Some tenants can't pay it. Maybe they have bad luck. Maybe they lose a job. And then all of a sudden, what's going to happen? More evictions. The court, unfortunately, I had to do eviction this year. The court, super full. They're packed. They couldn't even process my case. It took like 2 months extra because they're overwhelmed. So that means there's a lot of people in hardship. So that's the reality too of the market too, besides all the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Now the tag says everyone got hit. Is Chicago supposed to be this year, or is that supposed to be next year?
Yeah, it's this year.
So
Reevaluated this year.
So August of next year.
Next year. Well, the spring and the August.
August bill.
They got to
The
stop.
Second
half.
installment.
Yep. The county did to soften the blow. The assessed values jumped up for everybody, but they tweaked the local tax rate to come down, which I've never seen go down. It only typically goes up. So I'm worried that eventually the next move will be to increase that local tax rate back to where it was at and
They're always broke.
really hammer. I mean, look at Chicago's deficit right now.
Terrible.
We're in the hole, hundreds of millions of dollars with no solution to it.
Yeah.
So
It's tough. It's a tough spot. You know what I mean? It's hard.
but we got the election to look forward to.
So I don't know if election's going to. I don't know if election's going to change anything locally.
Really locally, you got to. I mean, the bills I'm scared of are always like insurance and property tax.
Yep.
The election, it's like
But besides that, however you see it, right? Like the tenant, at the end of the day, not only got screwed, but they get even screwed if they never own real estate.
Oh yeah,
Because at least if you own,
you're locking it in.
you're locking it in, and maybe you have a possibility you saved your money and the property increased in value, and you have some kind of
Equity.
Listen,
Equity.
if you
You know what I mean? If you're a tenant, you're going to end up living there for 10 years. Your rent is going to double, and you got nothing.
Yep. You walk
Like
away
a-
with nothing.
It's like
nothing.
the worst of the worst.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a forgiving business. Even if it's like, okay, let's say the property actually, the worst case scenario goes down for and then it has to take time to come back up. At least your payment's the same, and eventually you'll own it.
Yep, exactly.
At least eventually you'll own it. Like I bought it at a bad time.
You're right.
I still have it, so it's like now I'm ahead.
Yeah.
But it's a forgiving business. If you wait a long enough period of time, it will turn around. Especially
I agree.
with inventory being low and all.
I
that.
agree.
Yeah. I saw a chart over the last 100 years, and it's even.
I mean,
through the
there's only
worst,
so much land.
It's always
There's only so much
inclined. It's always gone up after whatever it's gone up.
And with all the doom and gloom, we are one of the most affordable cities in America.
Yes,
We
we
are.
are.
The
One of the most
size-
stable.
What?
One of the most stable as well. As far as
I
housing
people are
market.
coming. I have a client who works for ComEd. He's an electrical engineer, and he's putting up like sites all over for Google. So I think there's gonna be more
For here
stuff
in Illinois?
in Illinois. He's like,
Nice.
we're super busy. So I feel like if you go to like DC
Yeah,
or
that's
you
good.
go to New York, I mean, you see the prices over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
like-
This is
California.
a joke. This is a joke.
I mean, here you still have a shot. You could.
Here,
you might suffer. You might have to work 2 jobs, but you could.
If you
get
want
out, get out of the hole, right?
Listen,
Not
we
gonna
got.
say it.
Yeah, you get out of the hole, but you got a city. I mean, there's a lot of bad press about Chicago, but you got the lakefront's awesome. You got everything here.
Yeah.
So
The food is great.
the food's the best.
Best food.
I just don't like the weather. That's all.
It's a few months.
Hasn't
Yeah,
been
I
bad.
mean, and
Come on, it's
Last few years
Right now,
haven't been
beautiful.
bad.
Hey, I gotta.
Global warming for me is cool. For me in Chicago, it's all good.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back to what we started with, as far as because our viewers do want a health check. We're still alive,
We're still alive.
still in
We're still
business.
well.
Well,
and not much has changed. I mean, again, besides more
couple
paperwork,
couple more forms to sign, but so
Yep.
far,
More
the
headaches.
First month, it's been
been
today's the 18th.
today's 18. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so one month
1 month,
exactly.
exactly. So
exactly.
we filmed it purposely 1 month, Frank. We just
okay.
found out about
I
that.
didn't get that part.
I also
did
want to
start-
do a shout out for a blood drive that we're doing here. Agent Mark Skubak's idea. We actually have the Red Cross coming here. We're doing a 5-hour blood drive. Yep, we need 35 people. I believe we have 12 so far. It's going to be from 1 to 6 p.m. on the 28th. They're going to give you a little gift card. We
Yeah.
have cookies, of course.
We'll have to drop
Is that
the link.
September 28th or?
It's October.
October.
October
Ah, so you
28th.
guys
We'll have to
Yeah.
drop the link so people can register.
I will.
Reserve
We'll drop a
your time
link. We'll share. We got a flyer, and we'd love if anybody can come. I know it's a big ask. Trust me, no one likes needles, but it's going to a great cause. Well, Greg, Frank, Bree,
All
it's a
right.
pleasure being back in here with you
It's always
guys.
great
Right.
chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, always
Love
fun.
it.
We'll get back out there. We'll see what happens in the next couple months.
Still, we'll do another health check in another quarter and see if
That's
we're
right,
still around.
that's right.
Or if Redfin has turned us into a.
Nah,
Robots.
We'll survive.
Right,
Don't worry.
right.
I went on a rant, but
He went around. He's
we're
calm
still,
now.
I'm still in business.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
All right, see you guys.
All right, ciao.